for the City of Joliet, Monday, June 17, 2013, 5:30 p.m. We'll start with roll call. Mayor Durrani.
Here.
Councilwoman Barber.
Here.
Councilman Girl.
Here.
Councilman Hugg.
Here.
Councilman McFarland.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Odekirk.
Here.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Here.
Councilman Turk.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, if I could have you turn to Council Memo 264-13, 264-13, and that's the issuance of a Class E liquor license at 24 Ohio Street. I'll ask Mr. Murphy, Deputy Liquor Commissioner, to address the topic.
Thank you. Hearing was held on May 8th, 2013 for the issuance of a Class E liquor license at 24 Ohio Street doing business as Hacienda de los Americas, Inc. Class E applies to a restaurant or hotel. No one appeared in opposition. The applicant is Juan Jaime of Plainfield. He is not a resident of Joliet, so if approved, he will have 30 days to present a resident manager for his or her background check. There are no outstanding monies owed to the city. The building, fire, and police departments, as well as the liquor commissioner, recommends approval. Mr. Jaime is here and is prepared to answer any of your questions if you have it.
Questions? None? Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Been motioned and seconded to issue La Hacienda de las Americas to be a Class E liquor license at 24 Ohio Street. Councilwoman Barber.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hugg.
Aye.
Councilman McFarland.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Odekirk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Mayor Durrani.
Aye. Good luck.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we have two presentations. First one is from Russ Slinkard, President and CEO of the Joliet Region Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Mr. Slinkard.
Thank you, Tom. Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the council. I have a letter that is from the Chamber Board of Directors, approved by our executive committee at our meeting last week, to be read to the members of the council. As a leader of the Joliet business community, I am deeply concerned about the perception that is being created in our community and beyond due to the breakdown in cooperation between our city council and our city manager. We had two calls at the chamber office immediately following the announced outcome of the May 21st council closed session, saying they had an interest in a Joliet location, but are hesitant to consider Joliet in light of the current divisive situation between the council and the city manager. Those are their words, not mine. At our Chamber Board of Directors meeting on May 30th, the consensus opinion expressed by the entire board was that City Manager Thanis, with the support of the mayor, the city staff, and the city council, has done an excellent job in leading the city far along to being out of the disastrous economic situation he inherited. We understand that much work has yet to be done, but no one can question that under Thanis' leadership, many important steps have been taken with positive results. Additionally, under the leadership of Mr. Thanis, the future of Joliet is opening in a significant way. Just to mention a few, he has played a key role in the development and implementation of the Transportation Center Plan, the consummation of the plan by Joliet Junior College for construction of their new facility and city center, the Center Point development, the announced new major hotel and convention center, along with the ongoing negotiations with the county to keep our county seat located in Joliet. These are but a few of the key and ongoing developments in which his role has been immeasurable. There are many other items that could be listed, but the ones mentioned are crucial to the future that we all seek for Joliet. In my opinion and that of our Board of Directors, it is unfortunate that Mr. Thanis has announced that he will be leaving the position of Joliet City Manager. We wish we could persuade him to change his mind and remain in Joliet. But since that is apparently not going to happen, we understand the mayor is in process of appointing a search committee. Finding a truly qualified city manager will be an ominous task. Changing teams now will cause us to lose valuable months due to search time, in addition to the time required by a new person to get up to speed on where we are and what needs to be done to keep our numerous projects moving forward. We anticipate council members will cooperate fully with the mayor and the search committee in this process. I have been in Joliet long enough to remember the years prior to former city manager John Mesra and the revolving door of city managers prior to his filling that position. I believe the average time for a city manager for the several years prior to Mesra was a period of some 18 to 30 months. And that is a situation that we cannot tolerate going forward. For the sake of the city, we must all put the future of our community ahead of personal agendas and feelings and work cohesively with the mayor, the city manager, and all city personnel to keep us moving forward toward our new future. I believe great opportunities for Joliet's future are here. Petty differences and personality issues must be set aside if we are to maximize our future. Hopefully, we can count on all city council members to lead the way on behalf of the Joliet community to work in harmony with the mayor and whomever our city manager may be to lead the way for Joliet to go forward. That's what citizens elected you to be, leaders, working together cooperatively with a vision for a positive future for our city. Respectfully submitted on behalf of the Chamber Board of Directors.
Thank you, Russ.
And I do have a copy for each of you, if I may.
Russ.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the next item on the agenda is a presentation by the Committee to Attract and Retain Business. Jim Rolfe as spokesperson for the committee.
Mr. Mayor, a quick comment, question for Russ. I appreciate your comments. I was wondering on the next agenda or somewhere down the road if we could possibly have somebody from the chamber come and give us an economic update of our current chamber, of where we're at in business and retention and whatnot. I think that'd be something great for the council to hear, but then also for our viewers that are watching from home of our chamber.
Sure, we could do that.
Thank
Would
you.
be willing to do it?
Thanks. Jim?
Good evening. My name is Jim Rolfe, and I'm president of First Midwest Bank and a Joliet resident. I am here to speak to you on behalf of Business Advisory Group that Mayor Durante has formed. This informal group was put together by the mayor so he could interact with a group of Joliet's business and community leaders to hear their opinions and perspectives on a range of issues. But before I do, let me provide some history about the business community's involvement in Joliet. Over 30 years ago, Frank Turk Jr. was the catalyst for the creation of what we now call the Will County Center for Economic Development. We all remember, perhaps, at that time, Joliet's unemployment was 25 to 27%. And Frank Turk called other business people in the community to discuss what role the business community could or should play to harness the resources necessary to change the course of the city's future. Let me not speak further about that, but permit me to fast forward. I often refer to this committee as the No Name Committee because it is a bipartisan group of individuals who have one focus: Joliet. Represented on the committee are major employers, and a list has been provided to all of you of those individuals. It includes educators, healthcare providers, attorneys, small businesses, elected officials and community bankers, and importantly, all people you know. I would like to thank each of them for taking from their busy schedules the time to participate, as infrequently as it is, to provide their opinions and perspectives as we discuss what's going on in Joliet today and what we think needs to be addressed in the future. Periodically over the last 2 years, we have shared our thoughts, ideas, and concerns with the mayor on a very informal basis. Now, there are some that would say the business community has not been involved enough in what goes on in our community. I would suggest that that is not entirely true. We as corporate citizens may not have participated in political activities or efforts, but the people of our community and the involvement in our community have greatly and positively impacted the economic value both of the businesses and the hardworking individuals who are employed by those businesses in our community. As we look to the future, it's important that we understand that the business community also is very supportive, as are many of you as part of various businesses in the community, of the 46 agencies that comprise the United Way. They have benefited greatly from the business community's involvement. And let us not forget that businesses and the individuals they employ pay taxes, and those taxes in part are used for education, parks and recreation, as well as the development of new infrastructure and ongoing maintenance and improvement to existing infrastructure. You as a council have been entrusted by the citizens of Joliet to be responsible for and to effectively utilize those tax dollars to build a strong community today and to make certain that what we do today provides for and facilitates the future of our community. That's no small task or responsibility, and for your service, thank you, because the challenges are great. Our goal as a group is simply this: create a better business climate that fosters economic development that positively impacts our community. We need to work together so that Joliet retains business and at the same time is attractive to new businesses as those businesses target various areas to grow and expand their business. We want Joliet to be a target, and that's a lowercase t. We want Joliet to be a target. And we have to be mindful of what it takes to attract those businesses. It will take all of us working together, and that means sometimes having to put aside one's own interest to benefit the entire community. And that is something you do, and it's something we do as we work in a volunteer capacity within our various industry groups. We have had many spirited and candid discussions in our group meetings. It's not always an agenda. We just come to talk about what is on your mind. And I think it's important that we continue to do that, and would suggest that that resource is available to anyone on the council that would care to come and have coffee, join with us anytime, and speak in that regard. But the one thing we must do, we must remain focused forward. We need to focus forward. We need to be thinking about 2025 today. We've had discussions like the revitalization of downtown, as well as looking at numerous corridors that make up the Joliet community. Clearly, the expansion of President St. Joe Medical Center has created a tremendous community asset, one that we are all proud of, and one that we need to make certain we look at the West Jefferson corridor and the immediate environs around that campus to make sure that what's done there is consistent with the uplifting campus that's been created by President's St. Joe Medical Center. On the technology front, we were all very pleased that the council had the discussion on fiber optics. Technology is very important to any business that wants to come here. Having fiber optics will also assist in that recruitment and that attraction of our community. And so you having the vision to expand that to the entire community is very, very important. If you step back and say, well, what is our community? 62 or 63 square miles, 9 townships are represented by the residents of Joliet. That's more than any other city in the state of Illinois. There is no other city that has more townships in its city limits than Joliet, and 2 counties as well. So we need to be thinking about that. The business community's involvement has also reached to education. The high school district, as well as the grade school district, over the last 10, 15, 20 years, have sought the help of the business community, and the business community gladly responded to help facilitate the passage of those referenda. We all know our young people are our future, and education is so critically important, and the business community does and will continue to support when called upon in that regard. The gateways to our community. There are many, and they are the first impression when people come to Joliet, whether they're coming for personal reasons to look at a home, or whether they're looking at Joliet to evaluate Joliet for business purposes. Those entry points may cause those evaluating our city to look elsewhere. We need to look at them, we need to clean them, we need to do what we can. Recognize financial resources are limited. You tell me what Saturday you want, I'll have jeans and boots on, and I will help you clean one of them. And then we'll go to the next one and the next one. And I'm sure if we put a call out to others, there are many people who do a lot in this community, and they do it just because of the love for the community. And so that is something that we need to look at as well. To all of you, thank you for working through a very challenging and difficult period. Mayor, the council, the city manager, you've done a great job in kind of steadying the course so that we're in a position to look at the future. They were very difficult decisions, but critically important. And for those of you who were a part of that decisioning process, thank you. Those were tough. You made them. Now we're in a position to look forward, and we must. As we focus forward, and you'll hear me say that over and over again because I think that's what we need to do. That is why we're here to communicate our thoughts to you today. As we focus forward, we will continue to come before you from time to time to communicate our perspectives, insights, and concerns. And if there's something you would like to ask us, please let us know. My office is directly across the street, at least for the time being. I'm hoping that it'll be maybe another block or 2 away. But please call, stop, whatever you want. My phone, I'm listed in the book. I don't know if anybody looks at a phone book anymore. But we think it's important to also thank the businesses that are already invested in Joliet. And we are encouraged by the many good things that have happened and continue to happen as we look to our future. There are many reasons to remain positive about Joliet. Your efforts to bring a conference center complex and 2 adjoining hotels is great. Congratulations and thank you for doing that. We'll wait till the ribbon cutting occurs before we go too far because we don't want to jinx it. But I could go on and on and on about a number of things, the Joliet Junior College and what it's doing downtown, what it's done on its campus. Those are all things that are vitally important to the economic vitality and the well-being of the residents of Joliet. We also need to be concerned about what I call Joliet's position as the capital of Will County. It is that. Some people call it a county seat. I often refer to it as it is the capital of our county. We need to take pride in our downtown city center. We need to make sure that Will County government continues to operate from downtown Joliet. That's not to say we shouldn't pay attention to all aspects of our community, as diverse as it is. We should and we must. But that is a very important thing that needs to be done. And all of us are willing to assist in any way we can in that debate. You know, we compete against neighboring communities and counties for economic development. And we need to understand what it is they're doing so that we know whether we can do the same things to incent businesses to come here, or we can determine that what we can do, should do, or should not do. Because sometimes you have to walk up to it and say, look, it's not going to create a return for us. It's not an investment, it's an expense. Let's not do that. That'll happen. But I would urge you to be careful in terms of looking at that. Joliet, like any business, needs a plan, a comprehensive plan that addresses every facet of the city, not just economic development, but also quality of life issues for all Joliet residents, and at the same time creates a climate mindful of existing business and the need to attract new business. Comprehensive plan is something that we need to do. We need to think of investing in the city and not think of all expenditures as just expenses. For example, while costly, should the city consider providing for an economic development office? Many of you have thought of it, and it is difficult to think of investing the money or resources after coming through the very incredibly difficult time that the council has just come through and led the city through. But investment must happen. It should provide returns that enhances the city in the long term. We can and we will be a resource to you. Many times I hear, it's Joliet. What do you expect? I ask myself the question, what do I expect? I used to think, well, if you don't like it, move. But that's off base. It's just not the right response. So it is my belief that all of us here have a challenge, and that is to make Joliet a better place. And I challenge myself, and I challenge all of you here, everyone here, to make Joliet a better place today and to focus forward. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening, and I would be pleased to respond to any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Questions? Thanks, Jane.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, you'd asked that we move citizens to be heard up more to the front of the agenda, so we've done that. The first person who signed up is Kevin Griffin regarding the Electric Daisy Carnival.
Greetings, Mr. Mayor and the Honorable City Council. First, I'd like to start by thanking Mr. Thomas for all his hard work he did on behalf of the city and for bringing EDC here, and to all of you for approving it in the first place. Today, I bring a petition of over 1,300 signatures of area residents who are in favor of EDC coming back next year, unchanged, with the same 4 a.m. end time. Sorry, it's been a long time since I did this. I have a couple comments to share with you by residents who left comments on the petition. Megan Devereaux of Rockdale, her words were, "I don't have plans to ever attend EDC, but I live in Rockdale and barely heard it. My husband is a police officer and said all attendees were very polite and courteous, and it's a shame that a select few cannot see beyond just a little bit of noise for 3 nights and want to ruin an event that so many seem to enjoy." Mr. Tom Arroyo of Joliet said he lives right behind the track. And to be honest, when NASCAR is in town, it's much louder and more annoying with all the traffic. As far as the people that have complained about it go, I know some were here at the last pre-council meeting. It's very few in number. It's a select core of about 30 people who had a problem with the noise. Their petition to ban EDC only managed to gain about 400 signatures. Their private Facebook group, which is closed to the public, only has 133 members. That's compared to the pro EDC group, which has over 1,200. And these people, many of them were attacking the festival before it even came to the area. They cited it was going to be a huge problem with drugs, it was going to be a huge problem with arrests, and they had multiple concerns. And none of those seemed to come true. I want to commend the police and fire department for the excellent job that they did providing security and medical assistance at the festival, and the problems were statistically insignificant. Over this past weekend, I attended the Spring Awakening Festival in Chicago, where it was private security. I saw far more problems there than I did in 3 days of the festival here in Joliet. So I believe that our community was able to successfully hold this event, which is a world-class event. Not everyone here might be a fan of electronic dance music, but EDC, of course, I'm sure you know, is mainly a Las Vegas event. This year it expanded to London, New York, and Joliet. So that puts us on a pretty high stage as far as I'm concerned. I'd just like to finish with 362 days of a year. The people who are complaining about it, they get their way, and they have in peace and quiet all night long. So all we're asking for is for next year, when you guys are considering the permits and talking about bringing Electric Daisy Carnival back, that just for 3 days of the year, the rest of the people of the city are able to get their way too. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, next speaker, Robert Ayufis Webb, regarding various issues.
Good evening, Councilman. On behalf of the masses of the Joliet-Will County area community, independent political thinkers, I extend you all our greetings of peace and friendship. I have 2 issues that I intend to raise, and if I exceed the 3-minute speaking time limit, I ask that you be patient. I'll try to get through this as fast as I possibly can. The first issue deals with recently some of the youth had made some statements in terms of bringing back the East Side, and I thought about what does that mean, bring back the East Side? And I reflectively thought about when I was at that particular point in time in my life and the various recreational facilities that we had on the East Side, such as Washington Lanes, Yoneke's, Chalk and Q, Highland Park Swimming Pool, Noel Park Swimming Pool, Haggis Swimming Pool, where the youth had plenty of recreational activities or places to go, preoccupy their time. A lot of the youth, a lot of the abandoned youth nowadays seem to be more interested in just roaming the streets and getting into their particular type of mischief, whatever that mischief happens to be. So I'm here to recommend that in taking in consideration what needs to be done in Joliet, more recreational facilities for the youth, particularly on the east side in the forms of rebuilding Washington Lanes, Yoneke Lanes, reopening Noel Park, Haggis Park, Highland Park, just to name a few. Opening up a skating rink. So that way the youth will have a place to go. When I was coming up, we had a place on Collins Street called the Uprise. It was through the Community Action Agency that was ran by Jet. It's another place that we need to be revisited in terms of providing a place where the youth can go and socialize as opposed to socializing in the corner at the store, 2nd Avenue, Richard Street, for instance. So I want you all to take that in consideration in terms of, as the gentleman mentioned about thinking 25 years ahead of time, what can be done to improve the conditions and circumstances of the lives among those particular individuals who have been abandoned. My second issue, upon reflective thinking, I'm sure you recall back in December 2012, I raised the issue concerning various individuals who had previously had their cars towed and was being ticketed for parking in areas where they had the signs, no stopping, no standing, no parking. And the ordinance that those signs were based on was declared unconstitutional. I had mentioned to this council about those various individuals who had been deprived or had their money seized or their vehicle seized, being reimbursed with those monies that were unjustly seized from them. A number of them have saw me lately and asked me, well, Rob, what's up with our money? I said, well, I'll go before the city council and raise the issue, and maybe they might consider, holding a public hearing where all those individuals can come in, and you can get in contact with the police department to find out, well, who are these individuals, because Officer Willis was one of the main individuals that was running around writing people tickets and causing their cars to be towed, and the people are entitled to get their money back, being that there was a violation of the rights under the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America. And I think that anybody that's taken an oath of office to support the Constitution will be inclined to do the right thing by the people and give them their money back. Those are two issues that I, and want you all to take under advisement, talk about it. If there's any more information that you happen to need, daily I'm moving back and forth across, the east side. So you can hesitate not to stop me. Let's talk about it, Rob, and fill this room up with a lot of the youth in terms of what they have in mind. Also, I suggest that the various organizations, as opposed to them having meetings, they can begin every Saturday Neighborhood Environmental Scenery Cleanup Project. This is a project that the SCPAC started back in the early 1990s, which we still do to this day, despite some of the problems that we have. It seemed to me that those organizations who are getting public funds, that should be a prerequisite. Having an aspect of their program focusing on neighborhood environmental scenery cleanup, because there has been quite a bit trashing throughout Will County, particularly people who are abusing the proper use of their driving privileges, who are riding around just throwing stuff out their car windows. So I would suggest that this council take in consideration that idea also, and somewhat adopt the same position that the mayor of Chicago has adopted in terms of fines for those who get caught. As far as people who I've talked to, those individuals who are abusing their privileges, their license should be revoked, and they should be also some of the prime individuals to be put on neighborhood environmental scenery cleanup details.
Robert, I've been lenient. You're going on 5 minutes, so kind of wrap it up.
Yeah. One last thing. The last time I was here, I had observed where all those sacred documents were removed from the walls, and Thanos said he was going to try to figure out where would be the best place to reset them up. And I think enough time has passed to figure out where those documents should be put up to keep us rooted in terms of what we're actually here for. It was American Revolution, and we live in capitalist democracy. And those words and those pieces of papers, keeps us reminded. And I think that this council should consider putting those documents back up so they can be back on display like it always was. Remind people of how we got to this point in time in history.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next speaker, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Charlotte Drugan, unspecified topic.
Charlotte Drugan, 164 Seabury Road, Bolingbrook, Illinois. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I would like to thank Jim McFarland and Larry Hugg for having the integrity to be embarrassed about the recent revelation of a meeting between the Corrections Corporation of America and the business community leaders. As we know, there are sins of a commission. We also know there's sins of omission And I think constant transparency between the citizens and our elected officials creates a sense of trust and good government. And not sure that's what was going on. Also, if there's any other people that are on the city council who felt embarrassed but did not get quoted in the newspapers, I thank you also for feeling that way. I think it's important.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, if we could return to the agenda. First item would be approval of the minutes of the June 3rd special meeting, June 3rd pre-council meeting, and June 4th regular meeting. There will be committee reports following that. Next item is the treasurer's report for April of 2013, which is before you. Next item, Council Memo 243-13, is a report on the additional deteriorated roadway resurfacing program. The Public Works Department is recommending that we add a little over $500,000 to our resurfacing contract. There's a list of 17 projects on the first page of the council memo. I believe the Public Service Committee reviewed the list today, and it'll be part of the report tomorrow evening. Next item is a discussion regarding the retention of a recruiting firm for the city manager position. We had a brief discussion regarding a proposal that's been submitted by Voorhees Associates from Deerfield, Illinois, as far as providing assistance to the mayor and city council in doing a search for a city manager. Present today is Bob Bezat, a principal in the firm of Voorhees Associates. I've asked Bob to attend today to give you a brief explanation of the recruiting process and what his firm can do to help the city council in that process. Mr. Bezat.
Thank you, Mr. Thanis, and good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the invitation to be here. We are an executive search firm, a public management consulting firm that does executive search on a national basis, and have done, among our various consultants, myself included, over 350 searches around the country. We sent a proposal to you, and I just want to quickly highlight the process that would be involved in a search if you did select our firm to assist you. Basically, the first thing we would do would come and meet with you and people in the community as you deem appropriate to get their input on what they see as the issues and challenges facing the city of Joliet, and the kind of background and experience they would like to see in a city manager that's coming into the city. So that would be the first part that we would do. We would, again, get input from people in the community as you see fit. The second thing is, once we get that information about what you're looking for and what are the opportunities and challenges here in the city, we put together a recruitment brochure which outlines what you want, and we then begin the advertising and search process to find candidates that would best fit what you're looking for. And we do that both by advertising in the professional journals that are appropriate, but also very proactively contacting people who we think might be interested in Joliet based on their background and experience. So that's the second phase. First phase is to find out exactly what you're looking for, and two is to begin the process of searching. Once the candidates come in, the people make application, we will then, the third phase is evaluating and screening the candidates, and at that basis, and I would anticipate probably 50 or 60 people applying for this position. Could be more, but applications have picked up lately just because the housing market's getting a little better. That was a slowing process for many people. They certainly won't have problems buying a home in a new community, but selling where they're at has been an issue. But we would narrow that group down, usually to a group of about 15 or 20, and we then do interviews as a consulting firm with them. We begin to do some background checks on them, and we narrow the group usually to a group of about 10 or 12 that we would present to the mayor and council or a committee, and as the city decides how they want to proceed, to further screen those 10 or 12 applicants down to 5 or 6 that you would want to interview. And once those people are selected, Then we would get to the next phase, which is the interviewing phase of the process. We would work with the candidates to get them lined up for the interview process. We would also work with the mayor and council to set up the interview venue and prepare questions and evaluation procedures for the various candidates. Usually the process, when 5 or 6 candidates are interviewed, the council usually narrows it down to 2 or 3 that they would then do additional interviews with. Somewhere in that process, depending on how the mayor and council wish to proceed, there can be some input, further input from the community on that process of the interviewing. And then the final step in the process is the appointment. And we would assist you in negotiating an agreement with the new candidate. So those are the steps overall that we would do and work with you. The cost, the timing, it takes about 90 days from the time you tell us to get started till the time you're ready to appoint somebody. The professional fee for the service is $13,500. And then there are expenses up to $4,500. And those expenses, some of the bigger items are just the advertising costs to get on various websites within the profession, some background checks on people, and some consultant travel and so on. But since we're in the Chicago area, we're right here, that's going to be minimal. So that is up to $4,500. There is one thing which most communities don't do this day, but because everything's so electronic, we can have once the recruitment brochure is put together based on the interviews with you and the people in the community, hard copies can be printed. That would be an additional $900. As I said, most communities don't do that these days. Everything's online and people have access to it. So that's the outline of the services. That's the time frame that we would be talking about and the cost. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If not, we'll await whatever decision you make.
I think you did a pretty good job answering the questions beforehand, so
Okay.
unless somebody
Mayor?
else. Yes, sure.
This may be a question to Mr. Bezat and Tom Thanis. The presentation, first let me tell you, I was impressed with the presentation.
Well, thank you.
They've given us a menu of services and a menu of transparency, and now it's up to us to decide how we want to approach it. It's fantastic. The initial, what would you call this, presentation, the one that we received and he just did, can we get that posted online so people can read what we read?
Yes, we can.
And
It's
we can do the same thing with the brochure.
the brochure, yes. There's sample brochures that are available. Actually, they're on the website of Voorhees Associates right now, but we'll have one that'll be done for Joliet specifically, and obviously the goal is to broadcast that as broadly as we possibly can, but the proposal itself will make available on the website also.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, it's my understanding you'd like to have this proposal on tomorrow night's agenda for your consideration.
Correct.
Next item is Council Memo Number 244-13. It's the annexation of 413 Scribner. Staff is requesting that we table action on the annexation until the July 2nd City Council meeting. And we can do that tomorrow night.
Okay.
Next item, Council Memo Number 245-13. 2 items. One is an ordinance amending the designating ordinance of the City of Joliet in connection with the Des Plaines River Valley Enterprise Zone, and then also an amendment to the intergovernmental agreement that we have with the other communities and the county that are part of the Des Plaines River Valley Enterprise Zone. As you may recall, some of you may recall, we originally approved the Enterprise Zone for Joliet and other nearby communities in 1983. The legislation had a sunset on it, and that date is nearing. The legislature about 2 weeks ago extended the authorization for enterprise zones to continue in existence, but they put a 3-year sunset on it this time. While it's a short duration, I believe the plan of the legislature is to work on a longer extension of the enterprise zone, but they weren't ready to do that at this point. Part of the authorization the legislature gave a few weeks ago requires all the communities that have enterprise zones to ratify them. So what's before you this evening is ratification of the original enterprise zone documents as they've been amended through the years to expand the territory and deal with the other jurisdictions that are part of our enterprise zone. Dan Vera, who's the enterprise zone administrator, is present this evening to answer any questions you may have. Staff has reviewed the legislation and the agreements. We're recommending approval of both. Next item is 246-13, it's reclassification of 311-313 Mississippi Avenue from R3 zoning to R2 zoning. This is what we've called frequently a down zoning, going from authorization to have duplex or two-family residential to a single-family residence. What was before you is basically a owner, Dianica Gonzalez, asking for the zoning to be revised to conform with the use. It's currently used as a single-family home, and she would like it to be changed to reflect that. Staff is supporting the request. Next item, 247, is an ordinance declaring certain properties as a public nuisance. This one is 115 Stadium Drive. Owner is Nicholas Yankee. The picture is on the first page of the council memo. Staff is recommending that we be granted authorization to move forward with demolition. Next item is Council Memo 249-13. It's a resolution authorizing the conveyance of 329 South Joliet Street and an agreement authorizing execution of it's an agreement between the City of Joliet and the Housing Authority of Joliet regarding the Neighborhood Stabilization Program and use of funds, NSP funds, for 329 South Joliet Street. We are asking for authorization to move forward with that. If you have any questions, Alfredo Malesio can help us with this particular item. Next item is a follow-up to a conversation the council had a few weeks ago, and that is for a resolution establishing the Diversity and Community Relations Committee. What's before you is a resolution that memorializes the conversation and decision the council made and the appointment of the members and the chair to that committee.
I will have to reappoint him since the committee changed its name?
No, actually, what's before you for tomorrow evening will take care of all of that.
All right, very good. Thank you.
And next item is a resolution appropriating funds for the 2013 pavement marking program. This is the document that allows us to use motor fuel tax funding from the state of Illinois for the pavement marking program. And there's a corresponding council memo awarding the contract that was reviewed by the Public Service Committee earlier today. Next item, 252-13, is a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement with the state of Illinois for upgrades to the traffic signals on state highways with LED modules and providing a power supply. This is basically a project that the state of Illinois has approached us with. It's a $1.4 million project that requires a local match of just under $50,000. What it does is it provides an uninterruptible power supply at the traffic signals that are on state routes in the city of Joliet. The city of Joliet entered into an intergovernmental agreement with IDOT many years ago to maintain state-owned traffic signals. We do that through the 4 electricians that are employed by the city of Joliet, supervised by Russ Lubash and Jim Trisna. What's before you is new technology that will allow us to have backup power supply should there be a general power outage, rather than the signals either going dark or going flashing red or having to put the stop signs out. This will give us a period of time in which the traffic signals will continue to work. The local share is, we have money available through the motor fuel tax fund to cover that, and we're asking for authorization to proceed. I believe the Public Service Committee also reviewed this item at its meeting earlier today. And the next item, 253, is a corresponding resolution that that appropriates MFT funding for the city's local share. Next item is, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I don't know if the chairman of the Public Service wants to go back to the Council 25813.
Yeah, I was gonna give it in my report tomorrow night, but we did table those, 2 items, the resolution and the contract to the next meeting.
On pavement marking?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. We'll hold that over then and bring it back to you in 2 weeks. Next item, 254-13, is a collective bargaining agreement. It'll be a to-be submitted item. I'll let you know tomorrow whether we're able to proceed with that. And then the last item under Resolutions is a council memo establishing the Economic Development Committee. Request from Councilman Hug to have this before you. It's similar to the Diversity Committee, this creates a new council committee with authority to review the economic development future of the city of Joliet and to assist us with that effort. Next item, 257, is the regular payroll for June 7th of 2013. That's followed by the treasurer's report for disbursements and also the regular claims for May of 2013. And then the remaining items were reviewed by the Public Service Committee and will be subject of Councilman Turk's report at tomorrow night's meeting. Last item I have is Council Memo 265-13, and that's an application for a drive-through permit at the new gas and wash that'll be constructed at Laraway and Route 53. You may recall about 6 weeks ago, the City Council approved a convenience store and related uses project at Laraway and 53 on the southwest corner. We informed you that there would be a Dunkin' Donuts that would be part of the convenience store. This is the drive-through permit request following that initial approval. The staff has reviewed the drive-through permit, and we are recommending its approval. And that concludes the agenda
Can we do that
items.
tonight?
Yes, you could do it tonight.
There's no objection?
So moved.
It's in motion and seconded that Gas and Wash be issued a drive-through permit at the southwest corner of Laraway Road and Illinois Route 53 in the Stone City Commercial Subdivision. Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman McFarland.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Otterkirk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilwoman Barber.
Aye.
Mayor Geroni.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Is that it?
That concludes the agenda, Mr. Mayor. I believe there's a Finance Committee meeting tomorrow afternoon at 5:45. I don't know if there are any other council committee meetings tomorrow or not. I think that's the only one.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
It's a motion and second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting